I'm Lynn.
I'm Amanda.
And
this is the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast.
We're cutting through the fluff and cracking open what it really takes to build a business and life that you actually want.
No gurus, no gatekeeping, just real talk, big action, and the badass energy you need to scale and slay.
Some episodes, it's just us.
And sometimes we bring on powerful guests with stories that'll hit home.
Either way, this is not about playing small.
It's about going all in.
Let's get after it. Hey there, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda. Welcome to the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast. What does it really mean to finish strong and start fresh? We are coming fresh off of our recent summit, and we thought we'd talk a little bit about the hustle, the finishing intentionally, and creating the momentum that makes your life easier, not heavier.
Every time I hear this, all I think about is the storyline or the analogy, sprinters, or really people in track, that the great coaches teach the runners to envision the finish line 50 yards past what it is, because we start slowing down when we see that finish line. And I always think about that when I hear, I love our title, but I love it on such a visceral level. It's something that we believe in. It's something that we practice, and the greats do as well. You think of all these great athletes, they are absolutely pushing themselves past that buzzer, past the ending. They're envisioning that it's longer than what it is. So that way they can make sure that they're feeling fully completed. And then the starting fresh is slightly different, but I can't get that out of my head.
No, and I love that analogy. And just because the year ends doesn't mean, what does that really mean? It's just a day on the calendar. Things are going to keep going. It's not as if there's some magical wall in productivity that just stops because the ball drops. The finish line is beyond January 1st. It is beyond the finish line of your sprint. And it's not about doing more necessarily. So it's not about squeezing in extra sales and overcommitting yourself and being super burnt out and stressed, but it's about a strategic closure. We say that all the time about that's the strategic closure of it. You're wrapping up matters. You're letting go of what isn't working. You're auditing your year and figuring out what worked and what didn't. For us, this is just a place setter. You can audit and figure out your strategic close in April or in June, or it doesn't have to be this time of year. This is just a really symbolic time. And it tends to work well because it's end of a fiscal year. From a bookkeeping standpoint, it makes sense to look back and see where you can audit your expenses. That's where I am right now. It's a super fun time to look back at the expenses. That's what finishing strong really is. It's strategizing. It's a strategic close to, in most business cases, the fiscal year, and auditing and being ruthless but kind to yourself, looking what worked, what drained you, what made money, what didn't, where your time was spent, and asking yourself, would I do this again? Was this a good idea? Am I holding on to this for the wrong reasons? This is a good time to do that. This is your 2026 planning. Technically, it can be done anytime, but this is just a good time to do it.
Yeah, I love that. I think why we have this summit in November, because most people do take the most time off during this time of year, the holidays, even if you don't celebrate Christmas. It's the new year for most places. Not all regions celebrate the same new year, but even if they don't celebrate this new year, they kind of do, because it's more of a global, it doesn't matter. Most people are taking off and kind of chilling at this point. So I do love that you brought up, we are all about assessing and auditing and being really honest with ourselves, looking ourselves in the mirror. And I love that you said it's not just about the revenue, but it's also about time spent, energy spent, alignment spent, your values, all of that. And was the trade-off, the result that you received out of what you spent, if you would? And for those of you listening and not seeing, I did air quotations. I forget that sometimes people don't just watch us, they also only listen on podcasts. But what kind of ROI does that give you? And is it building towards a greater good? Because sometimes it doesn't give you direct ROI, but what it does is it builds the fundamentals and foundations for you to be able to have better ROI. So I love that you talk about the honest review I think also another thing during this time, which is super important, especially for like people like us, instead of going straight into critiquing and being really critical about ourselves and about the different things and really just being hard, it's also about seeing what really worked and celebrating that, looking at it and being proud, because that celebration helps rewire your brain for growth. And especially when you can look at it through the process and not the end result. And when you're analyzing the review, again, just look at the bottom line. We want you to look at the whole picture, because it's the collective that gives you the results, not just one step. And so when you look at everything, instead of being super critical, now we're also saying being honest, like, don't gaslight yourself. Don't like be, peppy, positive Polly here and not like call yourself out on shit. But make sure you're taking the opportunity to also celebrate even the small wins. And during this, because the whole review and all of this is, I like to take it even one step further. And I know this is a little off the subject of finish strong, start fresh, but go with me here. Is I like to look at the ripple effect that things have had, even when they didn't have, like, just recently I was thinking about how I met this one particular person and like going back as far as I could to see where that happened. And what it did is it gave me appreciation for that whole journey and like the different parts of it. What this does is it helps you see that every step is part of your journey, not just that one movement, not just that one person. And it allows you to take ownership where you need to take ownership, responsibility where you need to take responsibility, and stop taking responsibility for shit that isn't yours as well. I know that might sound counterproductive to the finish strong, start fresh, because we want to like own it and all this other stuff. But if you're taking responsibility for shit that isn't yours, you're actually putting more weight on yourself that isn't necessarily, in my personal opinion, great business ethics. But eventually it's going to come around and bite you in your ass, like, period.
Well, I think it's clearing the deck. Like, you can reflect on the wins, even the really super small ones, but then you can also clear old projects, unsubscribe, get rid of the digital clutter, and you're creating space physically and mentally for innovation, like for creation. You've got to clear the deck, clear your browser, close the tabs. I
Oh,
mean,
really?
I
You?
am actively trying to close the tabs, everyone. I went and I closed a whole browser, which was big. That was like 57 tabs I closed in one day.
Huge. On
Huge.
purpose or accidentally?
Well, first it was not on purpose.
Then
Then it was on purpose because I'm like, okay, my computer's trying to tell me something. Anyway, I digress. The point is, you've got to clear space for other things. And there are times where I have too many tabs open, which is why I open another browser to clear out those tabs. But the point is, you got to celebrate, but then clear the deck. Energetically, mentally, physically, there's a lot that goes on. And as a business owner, actually as a person, not just as a business owner, you're wearing a lot of hats. You have a lot of different decks to clear. So why not do it this time of year? Audit that, see what was working, what wasn't, because your energy is, reflects your efforts. I mean, you've got to protect your bandwidth. You've got to, if you don't want to finish tired and start tired. We don't want to start in that place. We want to be finishing strong. And I know that there's a lot of talk about, oh, finishing strong is, we should be slowing down, we should be enjoying. And just because you're finishing strong doesn't mean you're not enjoying. It doesn't mean you're not experiencing life. I think that's a negative stigma that we hear a lot, but this is a way to, yeah,
it's not one or the other. You
yeah,
can do both.
you can do both. But you sometimes just need that energetic clean. You need the shift. You need even something as simple as, going through your Dropbox and deleting large sections, or moving your Dropbox to your Google Drive instead and then dropping that subscription. Like, sometimes it's just an energetic shift, and even things that are working. And again, there's an air quote working. Maybe there's a more efficient way. Maybe there's a different I mean, the systems are changing so much. This is a great time to look and refresh things that are technically working, but maybe they're not as efficient as they could be. So there's lots of ways that you can refresh and you can declutter your brain and your businesses and your systems that can push forward to finishing strong and starting fresher.
Yeah, going off of that, not just clearing the deck, but closing the loops or clearing open loops. So, what I mean by that is like look at the unfinished projects, look at the conversations that you've been having, the commitments that you have, and then decide, do you want to complete it? Do you want to delete it? Do you want to delegate it? So, the whole like Eisenhower matrix, but get rid of one. Like, there's no middle ground, like, just kind of like clean it. It's like the spring cleaning, but this is a great opportunity to do that. So, I love what you said. I think also adding in, I mean, we kind of danced around it, but we didn't necessarily say like have strategic reflection within this too. So we talked about having an honest review, but like ask yourself some hard questions. And I used to have a set of questions. I'll have to pull it up because I used to have a set of questions I would ask myself every single year and I would write about it. Now I could just use Chad to be able to like make it all happen. But I would write about it. It was like, what did I learn the most? Where did I grow the most? Like those type of questions. Where did I avoid discomfort? And what did it cost me? And it's like this really, and I know Amanda is more so, I would say, now that she hangs around with me more, but super introspective, super self-reflective. And I have been for decades. But like adding this like strategic reflection to be able to then implement what you need to implement, take away what you need to take away, like change and shift what you need to change. And for those of us that actually do set goals and think about our habits and kind of the things that we want to do for the next year or that next season or quarter or whatever, this gives you a clear picture to like build that on. Because if you have shitty habits and you're avoiding certain things and then you're going to build stuff on top of that, you're building it on quicksand, buddy. Like it ain't going to work. So having those strategic reflection questions are really important.
Yes. And I think that really flows into that starting fresh doesn't mean starting over. It
Oh,
doesn't mean that you're like reinventing the wheel. You're just refining things. So it's a compounding effect of how momentum comes with iteration. It comes with how you're putting things into effect, not necessarily reinventing things. We're not reinventing who we are every year. We're expanding and taking the best parts and moving forward and taking the momentum of that. So when you think about finishing strong and starting fresh, I mean, you're pushing forward, you're continuing that momentum, you're refining your strategies and your systems and who you are as a person. And even thinking about what you want in a different way, because as you grow and evolve in your business and in your life, your opinions are going to change, your ideas are going to change, your goals are going to change, and you have to change with it, or you're wasting time and energy on things that don't matter to you anymore.
yes. I love that. Another thing, I mean, we talked about it, but also like taking a look at like the people around you and your team. So it's the whole collective, your collaborators, your strategic partners, like what needs to happen. Because again, you just want to start with the cleanest energy as possible to move into it. So I guess the starting fresh also is like, okay, so once you've kind of done all of these things and some of the things that we talked about on Black Friday, like auditing your offers and your pricing, your client journey and all of that, like what seeds can you plant in this last quarter to help keep that ball rolling into 2026 to set yourself up ahead of the curve, ahead of the ball. And so that's why we talk about finishing strong, starting fresh. It doesn't mean that you can't take off 3 weeks at the end of the year or whatever. Like you totally can. You totally can. We do. We do. And so what seeds can you plant? So Amanda kind of touched on this. Like what can you automate? What can you delegate? Like what can you do? And when you have that free space and space to breathe because you've cleaned up a lot of things, you've closed the loop, you've cleared things out, it really gives you a fresher soil to plant those seeds into that you can tend to in a more intentional way.
And it's not necessarily going to end on a high note. I think that we all have this, it's like an unrealistic expectation of New Year's Eve. It's going to be, we're all going to be glitzed out and the ball's going to drop and you're going to have this true love's kiss and the world's going to open up for you and everything's going to be right. Like we're not saying that your New Year's, if that's what your New Year's is, great. Awesome. Love that for you. But it doesn't have to end on a high note. It's really about ending with intention, ending with strategy, and starting fresh isn't about everything being new. It's about being ready for it, and having your business and your mindset and your everything about it being ready to start something new and being ready and available energetically and creatively to welcome those new ideas in. It's not all sunshine and rainbows all the time, but you can end with intention and start ready.
Yeah. And so going into that and kind of wrapping this up is we talked about like you can take those weeks off, but if you're worrying about what happened last year and you're worried about like everything's on pause, so you don't know how you're going to be able to make this bill or start this or start that, then you're not setting yourself up for success. And so when you implement what Amanda and I just spoke about and a little bit more, and really like try to finish strong to be able to start fresh with like implemented, automated, delegated things, those seeds planted, then you can actually take that time off and refresh yourself, regroup yourself. So that way, when you come back to it, you have fresh eyes, you have renewed energy, you have the ability to say, all right, let's roll up our sleeves and do the damn thing, because you were able to intentionally close it off, like Amanda said, to be able to have that breather, deposit into oneself, enjoy life in a different way without that responsibility, the daily responsibility of, and then move into that next year. It's so important.
It's so important, and it is doable, even in small chunks. If it feels overwhelming, take it one step at a time, do one thing, focus on one thing. It doesn't have to be a complete overhaul of everything in every project you've ever done in your life.
Yeah. And even if you're only taking 2 days off, okay, how can you really take those 2 days off? And we've had a few podcasts around that about like really checking out to be able to replenish. And that is part of finishing strong and starting fresh.
Absolutely. And I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who did come to our summit, the Finish Strong, Start Fresh Summit. We absolutely loved having you there. We loved sharing with you and all of our speakers who had amazing things to say. So thank you for everyone who participated in the summit, and hopefully we'll see you next year at the next one.
Yeah, we love this. Yes. Thank you, speakers. Thank you, attendees, and those that couldn't make it that still are listening to the replays. We appreciate you, and we can't wait to hear. By the way, just leave us a nugget that you got out of it. Go ahead and leave it on this podcast or YouTube podcast, whatever, wherever you're listening to us. Listen, we want you to succeed. Like, this is why Amanda and I years ago decided to do the Pursuit of Badasserie podcast, have our books and stuff, because we love this. We love what we do. We are good at it too. I mean, we're not ashamed to say it. Like, we're good at what we do. And we want you to feel empowered to be able to do the same. And like Amanda said, baby steps. Sometimes it's just one step at a time, but these little steps will eventually get you to where you need to go. So we appreciate you for listening to these podcasts. We love our audience, and we hope that you are absolutely not just learning, but implementing things as you go along, because that's where the change is going to happen. It's not going to happen through osmosis. It's actually going to happen through putting one step in front of another. And so, yeah, make sure you're sending this to somebody who needs to hear it, so that way they can subscribe too.
Yes, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, that like button, wherever you are listening. We want to hear from you too. So make sure you are asking the questions, because we love a hard question. We'd love to answer it for you.
Absolutely. Till next time.
Get after it.
Thanks for tuning in. But remember, listening is not doing.
Take what you heard today and move.
Share the episode, leave us a review, and tag us when you take action.
Head over to thepursuitofbadasserie.com and see how we're helping entrepreneurs get results without the fluff.
Until next time,
let's get after it.